What's up, everybody? Welcome to Waypoints Media Club, your one-stop shop for discussions on all things movies, video games, and TV shows. But fuck books, here we're nerds, not virgins. Today we are going to be discussing the first 3 episodes of Hawkeye.
So many places I could go with that. So many places.
Anyway,
it's such a risky thing to say on a podcast with me.
Anyway, for our listeners, we are going to be discussing the first 3 episodes today because the holiday came out, or the holiday was going on when the first 2 episodes dropped, and so we just decided we're going to do the first 3 all in one, but episodes 4, 5, and 6 will each get their own individual episodes. Joining me today is Jim Tasty, aka Brett Jamerson.
Going on, I'm excited.
And joining me is Lear and Jess.
That's such an awkward intro, but hi, I'm in jammies. I'm ready to go. I love this show.
Alrighty. Let's start talking about just the first 2 episodes because that's what dropped initially. What are your guys' thoughts, reactions? How are you liking it? How do you feel about the vibe?
So, Kate Bishop is my favorite. She has been my favorite. Now, her comics are like the ones I pay attention to. I went into this series cautiously optimistic because I think we all can relate to when it's our favorite character. You never want to get your hopes up too high because sometimes they can suck. I think they're doing a really good job with her. I feel seen. I love just how they're handling her. I think Haley Steinfeld is doing a great fucking job. Yeah, that's my starting thoughts.
Yeah.
I also watched the first 2 episodes and went, I'm going to dye my hair black again. It's been like 6 months. We're going to go back to black.
We're going to go back to black. Brett?
Yeah.
I just from a structure standpoint, I loved how the first episode was primarily from the POV of Kate, just to ease more people into who she is, why she's awesome, things like that. Yeah, I love how street level it is. This is like the first really street level show. Like even Falcon Winter Soldier felt a little bombastic with its action and set pieces, and this show really feels like super low key, which I love. Yeah, I love more exploration of Hawkeye and kind of diving into his character and why he was kind of underrated and under shown in the past Marvel movies of the last decade. But yeah, it's really great, and can't wait for more. Like where the show's going, and yeah, it's just been a fun ride.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying the show a lot so far. I don't know too much about Kate Bishop. Everything I know about her comes from Learen, and my biggest exposure to her in actual media was first thing this year. I forget when it dropped, but it was when she came out in the Avengers game. And I remember telling Learen about some of the story pieces and her lines, and you told me that they got her pretty right in that. I'm kind of seeing like a lot of similarities, but it's not a one-to-one, which is good.
So the other thing too that I think needs to be stated is Kate Bishop in the Avengers game is very much an older Kate Bishop.
Yeah, well, I think
she's very much...
She's technically younger, but she's been doing it longer.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
that like she in the game is like in her 20s, isn't she?
I feel like they said she was 19.
All right. Either way, she's been doing it longer, where this is a new Kate, and yeah. Kate in the very beginning is very like cocky and like on her shit. Because like the other thing is like Hawkeye, in the one thing that they're not leaning full tilt into, which they just don't have time to, is that Hawkeye is such a disaster zone in the comics. Just as a human being is a mess.
Yeah, they give him a family in this. So yeah, he kind of has his life together in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and I liked how I shouldn't say that. I have a love-hate relationship over how they changed her origin story. I don't...
Can you explain that to me? Because I don't actually know.
So in the comics, her origin, like why she becomes like a vigilante and like a superhero, is she is assaulted in Central Park by like 6 guys. They're really ambiguous if they just beat the shit out of her and rob her, or if it is trigger warning sexual assault. But it's kind of like, you know how in Jessica Jones, the blonde one that I don't like, Patsy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trish, that's her name. There we go. That's what they call her in the show. How she has that line like, people used to touch me all the time without my permission, and now I don't let anyone do that. That was kind of Kate's like intro. Which is really fucking dark.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be too dark for a Marvel show and be like a really hard in. So I like that they did it where they changed it to her being younger and like all of that kind of stuff.
Also feel like, and not that that's not dark, but also like, how old is she when that event in Central Park happens? And was she already studying archery then? Because I feel like it also would have been weird to be like, that happened 3 years ago, and now she's a great archer. Like, the fact that she's been doing it since she's like 9 or 8 makes it a little bit more realistic now in the show that she's that good.
The incident left Kate traumatized and then spurred her to engage in intense combat training. It doesn't... I don't remember if I think she had been doing jujitsu beforehand.
Okay.
Or some sort of martial arts beforehand. And then everything else came from, like, because in the comics, she is a fantastic fencer and a fantastic martial artist. Like, all of the stuff she can do in the show, Kate Bishop can do in the comics, which is why she's, like, just, like, a little bit better than Hawkeye. Because, like, she can just do more. And the only reason I was bummed that they changed it is Jessica Jones is a huge part of her origin story, and there was like a part of me that was like, what if Kristen Ritter comes back? What if Kristen Ritter appears and I get both of them in one show? What if I get both of my favorites in one show?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I would burst into tears. If I got to see Kate Bishop, Yelena Pelova, and Jessica Jones in one show, I would just like, I'm going to come on this podcast and be the most annoying fucking...
So basically those three are your version of me with Tom, Toby, and Andrew.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Because I adore every single one of them. They're small and sweet, and I'm obsessed.
I don't know how small Tobey Maguire is, but Tom Holland's small and Andrew Garfield's taller than me, so...
Well, I feel like Toby's not tall.
I feel like he's aggressively average.
Well, because in Great Gatsby, he's not that much taller than Leonardo DiCaprio, and Leonardo DiCaprio is not tall.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway.
Can I say a great thing about episode 1 specifically was getting that almost like training montage in the opening credits of the show, just from the perspective. Like, this show is so good from like a writing and structure perspective, like. Because a lot of people are going to be like, wait, who is she? Why is she so good at all this stuff? And they just literally get it all out of the way in that little intro. And then they bring it up in certain lines throughout that first episode and second episode about winning all these awards and trophies and things like that. So you just naturally get like that kind of explanation of like, yeah, she's good at all these different like combat related skills. And that's why she can like hold her own against the Tracksuit Mafia and things like that.
I hate that that's their name.
I love it.
They're such goobers. The fact that they just call each other bro all the time. Mm-hmm. Although I swear to God, if I hear the word bro one more time, I'm gonna snap.
Well, it's not bro, it's bro.
Well, because I was like watching the third episode today. I was like, if I was either of them, I would just hit this make the situation worse. Because I'm just like, stop fucking calling me that. Like, if you have me captive, stop fucking calling me that.
All right. Well, let's step back a little bit. So the show starts with the Battle of New York in 2012. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, it starts with her listening in on her parents fighting about a very vague money issue. Kind of had me worried that her origin story was going to be that her dad got killed because maybe he like got into trouble with a loan shark or something. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So like, kind of happy he died by the aliens.
Well, we don't know he's dead. I don't think he's dead. He might.
We see his funeral.
Yeah, but you don't see the body. You don't see him like get hit by a debris or something.
I don't think he's important enough for us to need to see the body.
Yeah, that's a character.
Dang. Wow. Okay.
Well, because I think the mom is going to be more important. Because what I was going to say to Jordan is, I wouldn't be so fast saying that they're not involved with the mafia, Like,
Well, I meant just the dad as the origin for her.
I do want to bring up, because somebody mentioned this on a podcast I listened to, the actor who plays the dad like looks significantly older, and they like did a lot of de-aging tech on him. So just from a resource issue, I don't know if like they would do that for like a 5-minute scene and then just never.
they also really hyped up Brian Darcy James being in this show, so I
Right,
feel
yeah,
like
that's
at
his name.
some
Yeah.
point we're going to see him again.
I forget.
be a
who does he-
flashback,
wait, who does he
but
play?
yeah. The dad.
Brian Darcy James plays the dad.
Oh, he does. Okay.
Yeah. And they really hyped up Brian Darcy James being in this show, and like it being Vera Farmiga and Brian Darcy James, and like he wasn't in on it. So I feel like we are going to see more of him, but not necessarily in current time.
Yeah, I could see them
Right.
doing more flashbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we have Kate looking out the window. She sees Hawkeye being a badass, and she kind of makes him her hero.
I mean, if you were close to near death and
Oh,
you
no,
saw
sorry, I'm
that
not
happen,
laughing at
he
that.
would probably be your hero.
Yeah,
too.
no, sorry, I'm not laughing at that. Like, I didn't have a transition there, so it was just like thoughts.
I think it was cool. Somebody like on Reddit or something did a cut of like the scene from Avengers and then that scene from Hawkeye, and just seeing it interstitial together was awesome. But I think, and I'm sure this is part of the reason of why Kate kind of got attached to Hawkeye, was like, and they leaned into it, I think, a lot in episode 2, was like, and we don't really think about it enough, at least I don't, of like, he literally is just a normal dude. Like, it was him and Natasha, literally just normal people laying their lives on the line just as much as, you know, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, things like that, like these god level people. And so I think for her, right, it probably just was like, hey, this is somebody just like me. You know, no super soldier serum, no $1 billion suit, no, like, you know,
Not a god.
not a god. Yeah, like, so it's super cool. That's why that scene from episode 2 in Times Square, where he's just walking through Times Square and like nobody's noticing him. I'm like, that's like, that just kind of like hit me a little bit of like, damn, like, it's cool.
I also enjoyed it in the 3rd episode when he was like, well, my weapon of choice is 2 sticks and a string. So I was like, well, you're not wrong.
You can't say I relied too much on technology.
2 sticks and a string. Like, oh, God.
But then we do see Clint Barton trying to be Dad of the Year. But, Liam, what were you going to say?
Do you think it's awkward for Joss Whedon's daughter?
You mean Joe Russo's daughter?
Oh, never mind. I read that tweet wrong. I thought that it was Joss Whedon's daughter this whole time.
It's Joe
read
Russo's
that
daughter,
tweet
which I
wrong.
was going to say. Props to Joe Russo's daughter from just turning, like, some role where she just showed up in Age of Ultron and said nothing to now, like, his daughter's, like, a semi-good character. Like, she's, like, there. And it's, like... I like the oldest son's line where he went, I might be an idiot, but I have seniority.
Yeah, she, like, now that you brought that up, I totally forgot that she is, Joe Russo's daughter, because, like, I felt like she carried it, or not carried, but, like, she didn't stick out like a sore thumb of, like, being just totally off or
this
whatever.
is the
Like,
most she's ever done. Yeah, I'm not saying it's, like, an award-winning performance, but this is the most she's ever done so far, and I'm like, okay, good.
although, shout out to the actress who played Ant-Man's daughter, who got replaced by somebody else.
I feel so bad for that little girl.
I thought she was fine too, and I guess
little. Dude, she was 15 in that movie. I still feel bad for her.
Oh no,
but she was
I'm
not
talking about
little.
both. There's the one who played her when she was younger.
I don't feel bad for the youngest one. Like, of
no,
course
she got her 15 minutes of fame. The other one got like
they got
2
like
minutes of
5
fame.
seconds in Endgame.
Yeah, 5
And
seconds.
honestly, she's probably like, woo! Everybody fucking bullied the shit out of the girl who played Morgan Stark. So the girl who played Cassie Lang, the young Cassie Lang, was probably like, thank God, I'm done.
It's just like by the time they make the 3rd Ant-Man movie, I feel like the original Cassie Lang is probably going to be old enough.
And maybe.
Yeah, but like, she's also a child. She may have decided by that point, hey, my parents made me do this. I don't want to do it.
That's
anymore. Like,
they could also so easily just do a cut of Catherine Newton in Endgame now, because like just put a stand-in for Paul Rudd, have her say "Dad" and run up, boom.
I just don't understand why we didn't cast. If you were gonna make her a character, you guys knew that when you were filming Endgame. Why didn't you just cast her? You dumb bitch! Like, God.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask Leerin this because I feel like she knows this question or the answer to this question. So, what did you guys think about their decision to make Clint like hard of hearing? Because I don't think, obviously in the Fraction run, right, they like make it a huge emphasis of him being a normal person, having to bandage up, he's beat up, all like that. But what do you think about their decision to make him like hard of hearing?
I like that they finally did it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
is that in the comics too?
Yeah, he's definitely he's fully deaf in the comics.
Right.
His so for anybody who doesn't know, in the comics, Hawkeye shoots a sonic boom arrow, and it is not far enough away in time. By the time it goes off, he loses his hearing and severely damages his eardrum. He loses his hearing, and it's a huge part of him in the comics. And I felt like when Avengers came out that was a missed opportunity to like throw in just some like fun representation, because like you didn't even really have to worry about the sign language necessarily. You just have him have his hearing aids in. Mm-hmm. And so I'm glad that like we've gotten there. I think they're handling all of it super well. Him being hard of hearing, and as we'll talk about later, I think they're handling Maya super well. I mean, a huge part of that is they actually cast a deaf Native American actress, which is, you know, a huge step in the right direction. But I think I'm impressed with how they're handling the people being hard of hearing. Of course, there's a little bit of a caveat to that because I am not hard of hearing. I am not deaf. So, you know, people who are may have different opinions. Yeah. Theirs are more valid than mine, you know.
Part of me is like mixed on how they. So Kate just goes, well, how did that happen? And then there's just a montage of him going through a bunch of loud stuff, which it makes sense. That just it's kind of like I did a job and it took a toll on my body. In this case, it was my ears.
I'm getting old, and over time, my ears have gotten real fucked up.
But part of me also feels like, did they just like yada yada that just so they could say, hey guys, we did it. Boom. He's got a hearing aid now.
I think
it makes sense.
It makes sense. And I think literally that montage is like 5 seconds. Like just from a like efficiency standpoint, I love that they're like, hey, here's all these moments where like he got his ass kicked. Boom. He can't, he's hard of hearing now. Like,
and
boom,
realistically,
awesome.
That would cause damage to his eardrums, and he is getting older, like especially anything he was doing as Ronin, like, and you know, all this stuff going up in Quinjets and all that kind of shit that he'd be doing with shields, like that takes a toll on your eardrums, especially as you're getting older. Like he says it in episode 3, I've been doing this for 20 years. Like it's going to take a huge toll on your body. So I think it's easier and quicker than if they were like, fuck, we gotta have to write a scene where he was doing something that we didn't see in any other movie or any other project before this, that something went off and it was immediate. I think it is just easier to show that it was progressive.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, like,
people... Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, have you guys ever been to like a large sporting event?
Like once or twice?
And like you see the people with like...
Yeah, like I literally went to an NFL game a few weeks ago, and like you don't notice it, but then you walk out and like your ears are ringing just from like constant like that, and that's just from going to a football game, let alone like all the shit he was
doing.
Yeah. So that totally made sense. I loved it.
And like you'll see babies have like those big headphones on that to protect their ears. It's so cute.
So funny. Such a small head, such big headphones.
I know. I love it. But yeah, so I liked it, and like I don't know, like Jeremy Scott, who's like runs CinemaSins, has slowly been going deaf for like 6 years at this point. So I think it's just a different way to show people that are hard of hearing.
Yeah, it is that thing with a lot of disabilities. I think people are realizing now that like because Steve Saylor, aka the Blind Gamer Steve, he always talks about how like blindness is a spectrum. It's not it's not always you just see nothing, and so I would imagine that deafness has a similar aspect to it.
Yeah. I was crying laughing at a video he posted the other day where he was like playing like Fall Guys or something, and he was like, I wish I could see you guys, and then he stops and goes, well, I wish I could just see in general, but it's like, That's a good attitude to have, my man. Good for you.
Yeah, fair.
I love him. Anyways.
Anyway, so we then see Kate, do a dumb teenager thing and just knock down a bell tower.
I have questions about the physics of that. I'm not being critical of it. I literally just don't understand the physics of it.
I'm assuming it was a bell tower that hasn't been used in like several decades, and maybe that's why the bell swinging was enough to get it to collapse.
Also, did you see the little like nameplate? It said Stain Tower. That was cool. I like that.
I like that. I didn't see that. I like that though.
Which I'm assuming is a reference to Obadiah Stane. So
yeah. I didn't know. I don't know enough about bell towers to be like, because I watched that happen and I was like, this seems unrealistic. And then I was like, but actually, I don't know if that's not exactly how that would go, because I don't know shit about bell towers.
Oh,
let me pull up Rick Harrison and call up my buddy who's an expert on bell towers.
Yeah.
The only thing I know about bell towers or bells in general, is the Liberty Bell, which cracked every freaking time they rung it. And then just kind of going along that line of like those, like the construction of bells and just the way they're set up, like they're just prone to get fucked up a lot. And like, so I just think that it's like
gongs seem much more efficient.
Like, my knowledge of bells is the Liberty Bell and the bells of Notre Dame, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because most churches now and shit like that you'll see, that's not actual bells ringing; it's a bell sound through a speaker.
Mm-hmm.
The bell I'm most familiar with is Taco Bell,
or the bells in Spider-Man 3.
Yes, that actually was a good scene.
Dear God, please kill Peter Parker. It's like,
Topher Grace going to church to wish death on someone.
God's like, all right, I'll kill him. Here we go.
Good for him,
Least you could do is ask.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hey, God, been a while. I need you to kill a guy.
Hey, God, it's me, Topher.
Oh, God. I'm gonna say it right now, Jack is the creepiest guy I've ever seen. I hate it so much.
It's the fucking mustache.
It's not even that. It's that he read a book on how to be a stepdad. She's full grown. She doesn't need any more raising. She's done.
She's 22. She's not like a 7-year-old.
Just a relationship. Like,
no, but it's different.
I feel like if you're marrying somebody who has a kid and the kid is 22, you don't necessarily need to be concerned about replacing their parent. You just get to know them as like they're a person. They're like a full person with feelings and worldviews at this point. Like, just talk to them like a normal human.
Yeah, like
It was a sweet gesture. It just came off really creepy.
I'm gonna just make an assumption because I don't spend too much time. Oh, go ahead, Brett.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna make a very big assumption here because I don't spend too much time in the step parenting section at Barnes and Nobles. I would imagine most step parenting books are like for kids. Like, I don't know if there's any for like being a stepdad to a young adult, because I feel like that just has its own sets of challenges.
I mean, in today's day and age, man, there's probably a book for everything, So
I mean, there's some people whose step parents end up younger than them, so
Right.
Also, by the way, I don't like. Clearly, Kate's mom is like the bad guy, right, and not Tony Dalton. Like, that feels like a huge red herring, right?
Oh, you think her mom's the bad guy?
Bad people.
Yeah.
I think they're both bad guys. Yeah.
I don't think Jack is.
Oh no, I fully think Jack is.
I don't trust any grown-ass man with a mustache like that who's that into swords. You're a sketchy guy. Do I think he...
My headphones got disconnected. He started coming into my TV.
Terry loves collecting swords, and he's a great guy. So,
but Gino doesn't have the mustache.
He is not an old white guy with a creepy mustache.
See, part of me thinks that
Gino could be into swords.
Part of me does think that the mom's gonna be like blindsided by all this. Like, I don't have reason to believe that she's a villain yet.
Why the fuck do you think? Why are you? How? She absolutely is a villain.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
absolutely a bad guy.
All you need to know a tough spot here financially. Like, we got to make some hard choices. The dad's like, no, like, we can still keep the house. Flash forward 10 years later, she's like, oh, I'm like loving the rich and glitzy lifestyle. Like,
yeah.
there's no way like you go from that point to this point.
Life
without,
insurance
like,
policy, bro.
No, I was going to say this earlier, but was waiting until we got here. She is absolutely how the Bishop family got involved with the mob. It was not the dad. Like, also, Kate says it in episode 3 where she's like that her dad loves to help people. The story is absolutely going to be that their dad spent a fuck ton of money trying to help people and, like, help people out. They were going to lose their grand way of life. And
I forget, was that the mom's house or the dad's house? Like, growing up,
Dad,
it was the dad's. Okay,
because the mom came from humble origins, and she said that in that episode. Yeah,
the mom grew up like it absolutely is going to be. She grew up poor. She married a philanthropist. He started squandering away their money being a philanthropist, and she got scared that she was going to have to give up her lifestyle, and so she wanted to sell the penthouse and all that shit, and she's absolutely how the family got in with the mob. Jack is also absolutely a villain. The old guy is probably a bad guy. It's sad that he got murdered in his own home with a sword, but, like...
Okay, here's the thing. She goes, there's that line where Kay goes, oh, another Armand. He goes, yes, I'm the third, he's the seventh. Is he the dude's great-great-grandfather?
Yes.
Damn.
It means they had their kids young. That's all that means.
Yeah.
Also, fuck that kid.
He was in the show for 3 minutes.
He was fucking annoying. I hate rich kids.
He reminded me of Barron Trump a little bit for some reason.
Yeah.
The haircut, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Isn't Barron like 17?
Yeah, but it's the haircut though. It was like that coiffed, like, rich, like, white kid haircut.
Yeah, like, he just is this stereotypical spoiled rich white kid, and it was really irritating me.
See, I wouldn't be surprised to find out that part of the twist is that the old guy wasn't necessarily a bad guy. Maybe he was just like
he was at a black market auction. I don't think that
maybe not bad guy in the sense of like what we're dealing with like in the tracksuit mafia, but I mean, he was obviously like just rich people probably up to shady shit. I mean, he's literally there to
he's just evading taxes. The rest are like murking people.
Like that dumb weird thing that I'm very against, where like actual like I mean they talk about it in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's true. 90% of like art that you see in museums isn't the original. They're copies because rich people have the originals. Like 90% of the artifacts that are missing, they're not missing. Rich people have them. They were stolen from wherever they were supposed to be and sold to uber rich people on the black market because it makes them feel good about themselves that they can buy all this stuff. Does your camera keep cutting out for you, Brett?
No, I've seen the constant feed the whole time. It's froze a little bit. But,
mine?
Yeah,
yours keeps turning gray for me.
Okay, because you guys are coming in a little choppy on my end, which sucks because I'm doing the recording. Best I can do right now is just move my phone to data.
Okay. Also, what do you think Armand the 7th or the 3rd wanted with that sword? Because we know why Jack wanted it, but why do you think Armand the 3rd wanted it?
Because it's cool.
Yeah, I have a feeling that it's either like they are involved in organized crime and Ronan never got them. Or like it's cool because it's from Avengers Campus, which how did
I wanted to bring that up.
I get that a lot happened after Endgame. That after Endgame, a lot of shit had to be handled. But like, how many people work for Stark Enterprises and SHIELD? Somebody couldn't go in and make sure like that valuable shit just wasn't stolen.
It's like in Spider-Man: Homecoming. The people that are there to clean it up will steal it.
Yeah, but like, come on, you're not checking that? SHIELD has people to check that. That was fucking lazy.
SHIELD doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, no, it is dumb that there was nobody there to be like, they shouldn't leave with any of our shit.
We have to check all of their shit as they're leaving. Their bags, anything.
This was just like a costume and like a sword. Like you could get a sword anywhere for the most part. But like,
if one of those...
They could have gone in Iron Man suit or Pym particles.
Or if one of those old bastards bought the Ronin suit and their son took it and decided to use it to go rob people or like terrorize New York City, it would look like this, like it would make everything like, I'm just like, why? Why are we all so unintelligent? Like, I understand that a lot happened after Endgame. I understand that we accidentally created a crater in the middle of the Hudson Valley, but like, come on! Get it together!
I mean, yeah, it's like what, Spider-Man Homecoming, they're stealing shit from, Stark Tower.
There's still like alien tech on the streets.
Yeah, they're stealing stuff there. It's like, man, yeah, it's like internal security, man. Y'all got some leaks, and somebody is like grabbing stuff and selling it on the side.
Y'all have too much money to have this many leaks. If the Disney Corporation can have an entire department that is dedicated to making sure their shit doesn't get stolen from theme parks and their offices, Stark Industries should have no issue.
I'm gonna blame Stark Industries.
Yeah.
And Pepper, because Pepper letting Falcon down with the loan, not like, because obviously like, and Tony
listen,
says
I get it. Your husband died and the father of your child died. I understand, but like, he wasn't Happy's husband. Like,
because Tony brings this up in Ultron.
No, he was Happy's boyfriend.
Cap's the leader, but like Tony pays for everything, and so also you would think in that world Tony would like have either Stark Enterprises do it or like an Avengers Inc. run everything and keep track of all that stuff. And like, what's going on here, man?
I think the same dude that found the Ronin suit and put it on the black market's the same dude that's putting all the Spider-Man leaks on the internet.
I think that's going a little too far. But and I know we're going to get a whole show where this is the entire premise, and I was watching this going, man, I'm going to be frustrated watching Armor Wars. I'm just going to be screaming at the television.
Yeah.
Unless they bring back Justin Hammer, and then I'm...
they have to. They have to. Dance. I need him dancing again.
I love him. He was so good. I just want to see him again.
But, Jack's definitely up to some shady shit. Don't trust him.
I also just don't trust anyone who's like, I want a sword that can retract into the handle.
Yeah, can we talk about the fact that it retracts real quick? Because
it did it in Endgame.
Yeah, he had a holster for it.
I think I saw this on Reddit. Somebody was like, because of the way like swords work and the way like retractable stuff works, like Clint, being the pro he is at just killing people, I guess, like wanted to keep the blade extended because it would mean that the blade would last longer. Like, I guess the sheathing of it would probably cause it to wear down and not be as effective. And so
that's across the board. Like,
he had that sheath. Swords. Yeah, he had that sheath there just to have it extended and have it ready to go, keep it up longer, better condition. So that's what
I also don't care about the retracting thing, because this is a world where a man can shrink down small enough to go into somebody's body and grow big enough to be as taller than the Golden Gate Bridge. So I just don't care.
Oh, no, I don't care about the physics or the science behind it. I just be like, then why the fuck did you have a holster, bro?
Because
I think Brett just explained it.
It'd be bad for the sword. Like, real sword.
That's just headcanon. I don't know if that's actually what they...
But even real swords can be damaged by holsters, because it's the way they fit. You're constantly running the blade against something.
It's like,
so, like, you're doing
it's like those $10 lightsabers you bought at Walmart, Jordan. Like, you flick it out, and over time, like, the more you shove it in, like, it just gets loose, and it's not as pristine anymore.
Yeah.
I actually have one because it's hung upside down. Now when I try to hold it up, it automatically goes down.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It's just the mechanics behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it just looks cool. Like, how many choices does everybody else on those teams make just because it looks cool? Like,
see, and Kate says he doesn't care about branding.
Oh, you know what we haven't brought up yet, and I want to bring it up, is how awesome of a wife Laura is. Like, the fact that it just like I just love her. I love her role in the show. And the fact like that she's not like a nagging wife, like come home for Christmas, but like she's like, you like, we know what you have to do, so if you don't make it, that's okay, but like we'd like you to be back for Christmas if you could make it. And yeah, it was cool that they were still able to feature her in the show a little bit.
Yeah. I like that, also just God bless having to deal with a husband like that. I did enjoy the line in the third episode where he was like, second, my wife will divorce me if I wear anything that looks like that. I was like, yeah.
I always love when comic book shows or movies make fun of the like original goofy ass costumes some heroes wore.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that like she knows about his time as Ronin and like that she's somewhat okay with it, like she understands why he did it or what, like that's like that was just awesome.
We all have our flaws.
Like that level of like ride or die like kind of thing, like that was cool to see. She knew like the catch and release move, like she's like all about like all in like that superhero life, so I thought that was cool.
The other thing too is that I feel like, at least this is how I would look at it, is your husband's a superhero, yeah, but he leads to people dying every day, like by just being a superhero. So like him going out and killing bad guys just on his own as a vigilante isn't really that different. So if you're okay with one, like you're okay with the other, because like superheroes are playing judge, jury, and executioner, and that's what Ronan was doing, is playing judge, jury, and executioner. So like,
but in a cooler costume,
I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, with that we're kind of getting into like the Watchmen territory of like the role of superheroes.
Who watches the Watchmen? I know, yeah, like that's the thing, is I love Marvel and I love DC, but realistically superheroes would be an awful thing to have, because that's just somebody being judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah. Especially when
if you watch The Boys, if you want proof that like superheroes should not be real, watch The Boys.
Well, it also goes to like when you talk about someone like the Punisher, who like just, if you're in my way, I will shoot you. It's like in the Tracksuit Mafia, those dudes could just have turned to crime because there's nothing else. Like the unfortunate fact is crime pays. They're not necessarily the people that are also human trafficking and running guns into places.
It's like, it's the same side. It's the two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Because if they had to, they would have killed. I mean, Captain America wouldn't, because he's a bitch and can't finish anything, and neither can Iron Man. But somebody.
Whoa.
This is my thing. I love Batman, but I have an issue with it too. Like, there are some villains that I feel like you just need to eliminate. Like, using Batman as my best example. Like, you have to eliminate the Joker.
There's a balance between the Punisher and Batman.
Yeah, there's a middle ground somewhere. Like, I don't think they needed to kill Loki, but if they did,
you'd get
I don't think that Iron Man and Cap would have been able to follow through with it.
I mean, we see Cap kill people. He threw grenades, and Winter Soldier blew up like 8 dudes. Like,
yeah, but that's in war. He can justify that and be like, "Well, I'm on the right side," and that's where you get into that like argument of, are you on the right side, or is somebody telling you you're on the right side?
I also realized when we were watching the third episode, even though like they've clearly shown Hawkeye's okay killing people, especially during his time as Ronin, they've never shown him shoot an arrow into a person. It's always been aliens.
Yeah.
Or robots. And I was just like, that is a lot different than a gunshot. That had they shown him extending a bow and then just an arrow going through someone, I feel like it would have been a little bit more graphic than Marvel is comfortable doing.
Yeah, I mean, arrows are like, like you get hit with, it's hard to pull out. Like, it's nasty business. Which, by the way,
sorry, my mommy called me.
No, you're good.
Oh, it's all good. By the way, I love like I kind of like groan when this happens, but I also kind of love it too when like superheroes just do something dumb that makes no sense in the fight. When Hawkeye's like, it's in episode 3 when he finally gets the bow and starts like wrecking people, and then the dude's behind him and he just aims it backwards and just shoots it. It's like how would you know he's right at that spot? Like, how do you know you're aiming the right way?
Especially with his hearing aid gone, he couldn't be like, "Oh, I heard him coming."
Yeah, I was like, but yeah.
I really like the scene in the background where a guy is running, reaches his hand out, he shoots him in the hand and pins his hand to the pole, and the guy just is screaming in the background. He's just like, ah! In the back.
Yeah.
It's like, this is just full on chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any more things to say about the first 2 episodes?
First 2.
I'm having trouble remembering where the line is because I watched 2 and 3 this morning back to back.
Oh, yeah.
I did not think the Molotov cocktail scene was gonna go like that.
Yeah, these villains are very humor. Like, they almost remind me of
That's not even what I mean, though. I didn't think in the trailer we saw that scene where it goes through that he punches out the glass and catches it and throws it back. I didn't think that was going to happen in the second episode.
You thought it was going to be a lot more high stakes.
Yeah, no, not even that. I just didn't think it was going to happen in the second episode, and I didn't think any of the Molotov cocktails were going to succeed. Like, I didn't think whatever building they were in was actually going to catch fire, you know?
Yeah.
And then her entire apartment burned to the ground, and they're like trying to get this fucking dog out of there. And
her flat was awesome.
Yeah,
that was such a cool apartment. Yeah,
and now it's soaked.
It's done. Okay, real quick, since you brought, I was like, I didn't think about it until now, but what do you guys think about the LARP scene? Yeah, what do you guys think about that? If you're listening, Lee Aaron's facial expression is hilarious.
I'm losing my mind.
I feel as though it seems really like, did you guys really have to spend 20 minutes on this?
It was long,
but
and
I think... Go ahead.
I don't know how to phrase this where I'm not going to get in trouble.
Okay,
but,
I'll say what I'm thinking, and then you could say it. I don't care if you get in trouble. I think the thing that Kate's doing about, like, you inspire people whether or not you think you do, I think that's going to be a recurring theme, and at some point he's going to come to accept that. And I think that it's going to go back to the LARP thing. In some way, shape, or form, it's going to go back to him, like, accepting the fact that people will look up to you and you can't help that. Mm-hmm. And I think that the LARP group is going to have something to do with his acceptance of that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I see him back there in the last episode just, like, shaking hands. No, say what you're about to say.
Not, because that scene was fucking stupid. I have an issue that we are pretending that a firefighter is dumb enough to do that, and then post a TikTok about it.
It was an Instagram reel.
It was Instagram. By the way, shout out to Hawkeye being social media savvy. Like, he was like, I know I need to look them up on Instagram.
Oh, I like to imagine that he was on his daughter's account.
I don't know. I'm trying not to shit on anybody's interests because I understand that everybody has different interests.
Oh, wow. Anti-LARPer here?
I don't get it. Like, I'm not shitting on anybody that does it. If that's how you want to spend your money and that's what makes you feel alive, cool. We're a group of 9 fucking people that we're not making any money, but we choose to sit here and make podcasts. So I'm not one to judge. But, like, I don't get it.
I think it's like,
get the point.
I feel like it's cosplay with, like, taken one step further into, like, your immersion into this character of this world.
It's like, isn't it like, I mean, the way I look at it, it's like, a combination of cosplay with, like, tabletop or like Human versus Zombies, like those, like, live action, like, RPG games that you can play, like, in person.
I just don't.
Have you been to a Ren fair before, Lee Aaron?
Yes. I don't dress up.
But yeah,
I'm not opposed to dressing up for a Renaissance fair, but that's partly just because I like wearing pretty dresses and you don't get a lot of opportunities to do that. But, like, the people that go in, like, these heavy, hot costumes, like, I just can't think of anything I'd want to do less than dress in a heavy, hot costume and go run around the woods with foam swords and all of this stuff.
Well, it's winter, so.
Yeah, but they do it in the summer. Oh. Like, it's not like LARPing is an only winter thing. And, like, I went to school where my college, my undergrad school, had a LARPing club. And they would have meetings. See, Jordan's laughing at it. Like, I feel like I'm being mean, but Jordan is sitting here
because I want to say something that I can't say out loud, but it's like, part of me is like, did you know anyone on it? Like,
no. I didn't know anybody that was a part of it. It was a lot of people from the cosplay club and the anime club, and a lot of the guys that were in that group scared me so hard.
See, part of me is just like, oh my god. It's because I know a decent amount of people from your college. It's like, please tell me somebody I know is in that club.
No. We'll have a further conversation about that when we are not recording anymore.
Exactly.
But, and I don't, it's one of those things that I look at it and I'm like, I don't get it. Like, it's the same thing that, like, I don't understand really buff guys that are like, okay, once a month we're going into the woods and we're gonna kill everything we eat and, like, we're gonna be men. I don't get it. But, like, if that's what you want to do, if that's what makes you feel like it's worth being on this fucking rock in the middle of space, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care.
Here's the thing. I can wrap my mind around LARPing because I really enjoy play sword fighting. Like, I am a child. Hand me 2 foam swords. I'm handing you the other one, and we're having a fucking sword fight.
You giggle. And, like, I mean, that's Jordan's issue in a lot of places. Jordan giggles like a child. But, you giggle, and, like, this is, you take it so seriously, and people get married. Like, people who are married in real life to actual humans get married to other actors in, like, LARPing stories for, like, unity between tribes and all that stuff. And, like, I went to school for acting, and that sounds like a lot of fucking work.
It's one of those things that's like, you can have it as a hobby, but the second you start, like, living, breathing, and dying by it, it's like, you good?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I don't get it. And so that scene just went on. I felt like it went on forever. And, like, there's also a part of me that's like, if you're a dude and an Avenger is coming up to you
and being like, give me that suit.
I need you to give me that back. You don't understand how dangerous it is. Take your clothes off in the middle of the fucking woods. Why are you debating this?
See, that was my issue with the cop in the beginning. She's like, we're all cops and firefighters. Hey, why can't he just be like, this is literally Avengers business. I need that fucking suit. Like,
yeah, like,
pull the card, bro. Pull that card.
Yeah, and, like, I get that he has issues with pulling that, but I was like, why are you having this argument?
Because he would also hate to know that that guy got killed because he did that.
So
just pull the Avengers card and be like, I'm not fucking around. Mm-hmm. Secondly, I disagree with the first point you made about a firefighter not being dumb to do that. At the end of the day, they're people just like us. There's going to be dumb ones.
But, like, don't put your job on the line. Like, but people are dumb. Impart anything to any listener to this. If you are doing something that you could get fired for or arrested for, do not, for the love of God, film it. Or if you film it, keep it to your goddamn self and encrypt that shit. Like, treat it like a sex tape. Like, you heard it here first.
Wait, I'm not supposed to post my sex tape?
No, Jordan, please. I am begging you. If you ever, please,
link in the description down below.
I would just jump off a bridge if I ever saw your sex tape. I just don't want it. Not because I like any means.
That doesn't mean I can't post it. You just can't go looking for it.
But I'm afraid that it's gonna come up. I'm afraid that, like, somebody's gonna send it to me and, like, be like, I can think of the people that would send it to me. Like, I can think of specific, like, and oh God, I'm begging you, please. Please, I just don't, I have to think of you. You're like my brother. I have to think of you like a Ken doll. Please let me live in that realm.
I'm just all smooth down there. You're the one who just said the phrase Ken doll.
He has underwear on, which I think people forget. He's smooth because all of them, they have briefs on. Barbies are the same way. They're not just smooth. They have, like...
My sister's had a lot of Barbies, and if you take clothes off the Barbie,
not all the Barbies have the underwear on them anymore because they made the clothing look... They fucked up the line of the clothing. But Ken dolls have on, like, plastic briefs that are just, like, carved into their bodies.
Yeah, like it's part of the actual doll.
Yeah.
Anyway... Hawkeye needs to pull the Avengers card.
Yes.
I think you're totally right. Like, I think that's part of this TV show's, like, storyline, and part of his arc is, like, him kind of coming to terms with, like, being, like, not that he had a problem with it, but, like, owning more of him being an Avenger and what that means.
Yeah, what it means and how it could be used
for other people. Yeah.
There are so many timestamps for a social media clip from this podcast.
Yeah.
We haven't even started talking about the end of episode 2 or the 3rd episode.
Also, I love that we're like on the clock in this show. Like, hey, you have 5 days to be home for Christmas. Like, and how each episode seems to be a one day.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. Like, that's so cool. I love shows with like that kind of timetable.
Yeah.
Not the role I expected to see Free in. Who's the Free he's an Irish actor. He plays Maya's like Kazi. He plays Kazi.
Okay. I want to talk about him for a quick second because this is going to sound
really quick. Let me just finish my thought though.
Okay.
I saw Free in a play called The Ferryman when I was studying abroad in London, and then saw him in it again when it came to New York. He's a phenomenal actor. I was really excited when they announced that he was going to be in it because he's not in he had mostly done stage stuff. I think he's doing a great job. I really hope that he gets carried over into Maya's show Echo because I really like their dynamic that we got in just like the 3rd episode. I want it to continue, and I hope it does.
In the first episode, when he sees Kate and he lifts up his mask, and to an extent I still think this, does he not? He looks a good amount like Jack. They have like the same face shape.
No, they don't. They look nothing alike. And Brett is backing me up on this. Jordan, I love you so much, but there are so many people. Brett, have you watched How I Met Your Mother?
Yes.
And Colby Smulders is in the MCU. You know Maria Hill, Robin?
Yeah.
Jordan is convinced that I look like Colby Smulders. I look nothing like Colby
Jawline.
Smulders.
Not at all, and that's no slight.
Nothing like
no slight on you or Kobe.
We just don't look alike. And Jordan will be like, "You look a lot like Robin." I'm like, "I don't. I really don't." And like, it's not a knock to anybody, but there's like 2 people in Hollywood that I look like, and Colby Smulders is not one of them.
I don't know. Maybe it was the original scene when it was in the dark, but I was like, he kind of looks like Jack. Is there going to be a thing where it's like Jack's son? But no, it's Echo's assistant.
He's just a guy in the...
Yeah, and in the comics, he's like he's a completely different character.
He's just a dude. So we're definitely getting Kingpin next week, right?
So here's is Kingpin uncle or like Leon? You know more about, and we'll transition to the 3rd episode now. This will be the transition. Fuck it. You know more about Echo than I do.
Our podcasts have so much structure.
Yeah. You know a lot more about Echo than I do. Is her uncle somebody important, or do you think Kingpin is uncle?
Kingpin is uncle. Her uncle isn't anyone important. She calls, in some comics, she calls him uncle. Because when her father dies, because her father does work for Kingpin in the comics, I think his name's Crazy Horse.
That's a fucking cool name.
I think it's Crazy Horse. It's something. I know in the comics it's something horse, and I think in the show too it's.
I want to be called Crazy Horse.
Also, okay, I want to bring this up. Yeah, because you're right. Kingpin totally has a connection with Echo in the comics. So seeing, I'm assuming it's him with a suit on in 3 was. I was shocked that they actually did it this early.
When they showed you his hand, that's a beefy white hand.
And then that was a big guy in a suit that walked up. That was a big guy.
I re-listened to somebody posted on Twitter, like, if you the laugh sounds like him too.
Mm-hmm. Also, okay, I want to bring this up because I don't know where else to bring it up. And obviously we, like, spoilers a little bit, but in the comics, like, Echo kind of becomes, like, a hero, like, less evil, all that stuff. I don't like how, like, they made, like, okay, her dad was obviously in a criminal organization, but they made him seem like such a good guy in the origin for Echo.
I was like crying.
Yeah.
So like obviously like I understand like they're trying to portray Echo as a little sympathetic villain, at least at this stage. But I was like, okay, like yeah, he's a sweet guy, but he's probably doing bad stuff. Like,
so part of
you can't be that. You can't be that sweet.
Isn't that like the Tony Soprano thing though? Is like he would kill a dude and dump him in the East River and then go home and hug his kids. Like,
yeah, I guess.
And he is his nickname is Crazy Horse. His real name is William. His nickname is Crazy Horse.
Crazy Horse.
I think
The father.
part of me thinks that might be why they're making the rest of the Tracksuit Mafia such comic relief villains, like just dumb villains, is because they want to show that this is a very, for lack of a better word, sympathetic group of criminals, and it's just the people on the top that are really doing the horrible shit.
I also have pity for William Lopez because he is a Native American man living in America with a deaf daughter and does not have enough money to send her to a school for the deaf.
Yeah, and again, crime pays.
Yeah, and crime pays. And, like, yeah, he can say to her, you have to live in both worlds and you have to learn how to read lips. But, like, that's a conversation that's happening even now. That just because you're born deaf doesn't mean that you should have to adapt to everybody else's world. We should be, people who are able should be finding ways to make it easier for you, whether that's teaching ASL in school or making getting cochlear implants and hearing aids much easier and cheaper, or making deaf schools cheaper so that they can learn how to communicate or whatever. Like, if I had a deaf kid who was struggling and miserable in school because she had to go to a school where nobody else was deaf, and she feels like that entire scene shows that little girl like completely isolated. Like,
Also, I did not
everybody's
know
talking to their friends, and
she's is she an amputee or was she born without a leg?
I don't know because I don't remember in the comics if she doesn't have a leg. And they didn't show the little girl, so I don't know if she lost it at some point, or I'm trying to look at her wiki.
No, they showed it at one
character.
point on the younger girl, and then they showed it again when she's an adult.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that was not something I was aware of
not-
about her character.
But I don't think in the comics she's missing a limb because she dances in the comics, if I remember.
Well, I mean,
correctly.
she's doing
which is not
martial
saying that
arts.
it's a little bit different. I'm not saying that people who are missing limbs can't be dancers; they absolutely can be, but it's a little bit different than doing martial arts. I mean, it's the same thing where like that kind of prosthetic that she was wearing to do martial arts, you can't wear to run long distances comfortably.
There's different
You need
prosthetics
the
for different
blades.
things.
Yeah. Because you need those types of prosthetics don't give you any of the bounce and cushion that your knee joint and your ankle joint give you in real life. So it'd be like, imagine if you were running without bending your ankle or your knee, like how badly that would hurt.
Speed walking?
No, like trying to full out run, but you can't. You don't have your ankle or your shin or any of the cushion of your foot, so it's just so much pressure on
Yeah.
the top part of your knee and your femur. So it's a little bit different. Regardless, I liked that they did the whole thing with the hand. That's comic accurate. That's exactly what happened. She walks in when her father is dying. He puts the bloody hand on her face. Her costume for a really long time has a white hand here because of that. A white handprint. I love her. I'm obsessed with her. I'm so excited. Here we go. I think we may have just lost. No, he's back. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Jordan glitched again for a second. I got scared we lost him. Because if we lose Jordan, we lose the recording. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I love her. I think she's doing a great job. I mean, I would too if my parents have said to me before that they're aware that if it was between somebody and my dad or my mom, that I would absolutely kill that person without hesitation to save my parents. If I walked up one day and somebody was murdering my father, that would be my Joker origin story. Like, that is when I become a vigilante. Like, I would lose my shit until that person was no longer alive. And I'm a relatively docile person and don't believe in the death penalty or any of that kind of shit. I know I don't come off that way in these podcasts, but I really am. But, I love her.
But so in the comics, I know that, like, Kingpin tries to tell her, oh, Daredevil killed your father, so that way she'd has an excuse to go after Daredevil, and then he tells her the truth. He does
raise her after William dies.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is then she realizes that it was Kingpin who killed her dad. I don't know how they're going to write their way out of this one.
Kingpin directly.
It was under Kingpin's orders.
Oh, yes, it was under Kingpin's orders.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nope,
okay,
sorry. Yeah, you guys are lagging, but I know that's me for some reason. But so I don't know how they're going to write their way out of this one where Ronan did kill her dad, and I don't see her just forgiving him and becoming a good guy.
No, but there are ways to... They're already starting to lay the groundwork when Kazi says your father always thought of the crew first.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, there are ways to be like, your father was in this and doing bad things, but, like, he had a line.
Or he wouldn't let his personal vendettas... It's kind of like focus on the mission, in a way.
And there can be, I feel like, I guess, like a kindred spirit thing. Where she's only going after Hawkeye because Hawkeye killed her father. Hawkeye only killed her father because he felt powerless after Thanos decimated his entire family. And I feel like there can be a, like,
well, he doesn't,
we're not so different, you and I.
She doesn't know Hawkeye did it yet.
No, he was trying to say that Black Widow killed the Ronin.
I like that. I like that line a lot.
I thought he was going to say, I killed him.
Mm.
Yeah, but
I think Black Widow did kill the Ronin, though.
Yeah, no, now that when
like,
he said it, I get what he meant by that, was that she was the reason he stopped becoming the Ronin.
I also like how they're writing Kate Bishop to be a little like Nat, where, like, there are definitely parts of Kate that remind Clint of Nat.
Yeah.
In that overconfidence and that, like how Nat would be like, what took you so long? Or, like, I have to come in and clean up. I always have to clean up after you boys.
It's
like,
a good thing that you're Hawkeye, not Hawk Ear.
Yeah, like, it's all like that kind of
Also, I don't get why they went to get the hearing aid fixed when they could have bought a new one. It just seems like that was beyond the point of repair.
You can't just buy a new one.
Don't they sell them at CVS?
Is it tuned to, like, the shape of your ear?
Yeah, they like take a filling of your ear and, like, all of this stuff so that it fits in your eardrum comfortably.
I've seen something you could just buy generic. It just seemed that was crushed beyond the point of repair.
No, anything can be repaired. People at carts at malls repair iPhones. Like,
yeah, but like you can't walk in with it in 12 pieces and have them put it back together.
It's not like a... But it's not to the level, like, like, it's a basic one, but, like, he definitely got it from a doctor, and it's fitted to you.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of, like, putting the pieces back together. It's not easy to just get a hearing aid that works for you.
I don't know. Like, I know it just showed...
Getting hearing aids is a super complicated thing for people where you have to find the ones that fit your ear right and are molded to your ear right and work for you and don't cause pain.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not saying that the ones that you could get in a pinch are going to be the best solution. But, like, the way that she stepped on it, like, the little crumbling sound sounded like all that plastic would have just been a bunch of pieces.
Oh, it's not plastic. It's not what a hearing aid's made out of, though. Oh. It's not just, like, made out of a piece of plastic.
It was a very crunchy stomp.
Because they wanted to get across, like, hey, she stepped on it.
Yeah.
And, like, everything else was deafened in that scene, but it's not just, like, they're also fucking expensive. Like, not top-level hearing aids cost you... Like, if you were to Google hearing aids right now...
Oh, no, I have for my grandmother.
Yeah, you're going to see things like, it costs, like, $50 a month for 2 years. And, like, up for, like, good hearing aids. So if you find one that works for you, it's probably a better situation to try and find one that you can fix or, like, try to get it fixed rather than trying to find, like, a replacement. Because also, you don't want to buy one. When you're a superhero who has the mafia going after you, you don't really want to be worrying about your hearing aid going out in the middle of a fight.
Yeah.
And if they don't fit right, they can fall out and all sorts of stuff.
But I like how she asked him, like, ASL, and he was like, thank you, cookie ice cream, or something like that.
He said, more cookie.
Please, thank you.
Please, thank you. Those are really basic words.
Yeah.
He knew what sorry. He actually communicated that first sentence effectively.
Sorry, hard of hearing, not deaf.
And then after that, he was totally lost. And I loved how the what was it, more cookie please or something like.
More cookie, please, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked how that worked on like the sarcastic level that Hawkeye kind of plays,
Yeah.
but also like literally he just doesn't know a lot of ASL,
Yeah.
and so he's super limited. And
It was also
what he
really
can
cute that
communicate.
his youngest son was learning some basics.
Yeah.
Teach your children sign language. I'm not joking when I say that. I was about to say my sister's first word in sign was cookie. She's not hard of hearing. My mom was just teaching her. Because before they can speak, it can help them communicate with you. Like she taught my nieces more so that if they wanted more food or more of something, they could ask for more. They eventually learned how to say milk. They don't do it anymore now because they can speak.
They can
But like
speak
when they were babies, they knew very basic sign.
Mm.
Because it can make it's easier for a baby to learn this as more than to form the word more.
Yeah.
Like that's a different thing in the brain. Teach your kids sign. Teach your kids sign anyways because deaf people shouldn't have to like adapt to us. But that's a whole other soapbox that I could hop up on right now that I don't want to.
Okay. You guys want to talk about the bridge battle, the car chase?
It was
Yeah.
dope.
Oh,
You're not
Yeah.
allowed to stop on the Brooklyn Bridge, so that scene at the very end was not, great, but it was a dope scene.
Yeah.
part of me when I was watching that whole chase scene, I was like, man, I wish we got these weirder arrows in most of the movies.
All right, arrow. What's your favorite arrow, Jordan? What's your favorite arrow, Lear, that they used in the car chase?
His acid arrow is always my fave because I just think it's fun. It's my favorite in the comics too. The Pym arrow was really cool.
The Pym
That
arrow
a
was
really
so.
cool.
When I was like, why is he
Yeah.
having her shoot up? And then when they showed him and it said Pym, I was like, oh fuck, this is gonna be cool. But I think my
Yeah.
favorite one he used was just the purple gel.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Play-Doh.
Putty.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Play-Doh. Yeah, I think my favorite, just from a practical standpoint, is the grapple arrow. Like, I just love anytime somebody's grappling, it's so freaking cool. So seeing him, especially with Kate, like jumping off the bridge and grappling onto the train, was dope. I like
Yeah.
that a lot.
No, that was
That was
awesome.
a really cool scene. I think they did it really well.
Oh, especially the way that the camera was like, it wasn't one take the whole time, but in the beginning it felt like it was.
I loved the I don't even know how to describe it. Just like the play, like them playing around with like Kate communicating something to Hawkeye he can't hear, and then he's like, "Hey, we should probably do this," and she's like, well,
Yeah.
yeah." Like
I like that a lot.
them playing throughout that whole battle was awesome.
The scene where she was writing what Nathaniel was saying was very sweet.
That was very.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, it was like 3 a.m. and I was like tearing up. I was like, oh my gosh, like
What-
it's so sad.
What Victoria, shout out to Jordan, my co-host, Marvel School for Dummies, check us out on Spotify or wherever you find your podcast. She texted us and was like, this episode made me cry like 3 times. I was like, yeah, I know. The scene between young Maya and her dad, and then that scene with the notepad, I was like, when she was like, are dragons real? And he was like, yes, they just live in another world. And I was weeping. And then she wrote down little boy and was writing all that. And when he read the one where he wrote, says
It's okay
it's
if you
okay if
can't.
you're not home for Christmas. I'm just openly weeping on my bed. Yes. Sorry, my cat is just screaming in the background.
I wanted to talk about the diner scene, because I think it goes more along with what Jordan brought up earlier in terms of Clint's role as a hero and someone that influences other people. Because it really like, and kind of to go along with like the whole Watchmen concept of like the in this world, even in this world, right? And Clint alludes to it, and when he's talking to Kate, like there's some sacrifices that you have to make when you become a hero, when you become like a public facing superhero, and that it's not just all like fun and games, especially for someone like Hawkeye who has no powers or isn't rich like Tony Stark, and he's just like a normal guy. Like you definitely have to lose some things and sacrifice some things. So when he was communicating that to Kate, because Kate is like this aspiring hero at this point, like I thought that was awesome. That was really cool.
No, it was really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm really liking the dynamic between them, and I do think that's going to be, as corny as it sounds, it's going to be one of those things where they're each going to learn something from the other.
Mm.
Yeah.
He's going to learn to love again.
Also, I loved how he turned his hearing aid off when she was just blabbing on, like...
My mom's uncle used to do that to his wife. When he was annoying, when in his mind he was being annoyed by his wife, which I know is a very sexist trope, he would just turn off his hearing aid.
Mm-hmm. Also, shout out to diners. Like,
shout out to diners.
There's not a lot of diners, at least around where I live in Austin, and like I miss going to a diner, getting some good breakfast.
I've learned since moving here, it is a East Coast thing, especially the Northeast. Because, like, where Jordan's hometown and my hometown, there are, like, I can think of 4 within a 20-minute radius. There are none out here. There are none in LA.
Diners are luckily all over the East Coast.
Kitschy was, but yeah.
And then
they're a really big East Coast thing, and then as you go out further into the rest of the country, they as you go further west, they disappear.
But like,
granted, out here we get really, really good Tex-Mex food, so it's an okay trade-off for me. I had a breakfast burrito yesterday the size of a baby's leg. Like, it's an okay trade-off for me.
Dumb question: are there not like? Do you guys have Denny's where you are? Because like we don't have a Denny's where I am, but Denny's is like a universal diner.
Yeah, there's a Denny's a block away from my apartment. I can see it from my front door.
So you kind of have a diner around. It's a crappy one.
Ew. Ew. Somebody I dated wasn't allowed to eat at Denny's because their grandfather died in a Denny's.
Wasn't allowed or he chose not to?
Yeah, you said wasn't
allowed to. His mother told him not to. I know they're not listening, but if you're the ex-boyfriend that told me that story, even if our breakup was terrible, please let me know.
Just leave a comment and go, that one was me.
Which one? Or maybe it was one of my sister's ex-boyfriend. Somebody that me and my sister knew, their grandfather died in a Denny. I think I know which boyfriend it was, but...
Did he like choke on the food, or was it a heart attack?
No, he had a heart attack in a Denny's.
He had
a heart attack at a table and died in a Denny's.
But what is it? Was it like a dramatic 70s TV show, or was he just kind of like...
Oh, I have no idea. My ex-boyfriend wasn't there when it happened.
Yeah.
He did not live through that. But it happened. We drove past, it was somebody, I know who it was now. We were in college and we drove past a Denny's in Buffalo and he was like, yeah, my grandfather died in a Denny's. I'm not allowed to eat there. I was like,
I really thought you were about to say, I really thought you were about to say, my grandfather died in that Denny's.
No. Jordan, I would have gotten out of the car just because I wouldn't have known what to say. Yeah, fun fact.
Grandfathers,
I would die for Lucky the pizza dog.
Yes.
I love him so much. He's such a great addition.
They got close to the name. They got close to the name in the 3rd episode.
I'm waiting to see what happens that gets us all the way to Lucky the pizza dog. But like Chris was saying I don't think Brett was there, but in our meeting yesterday, Chris and I were talking about how in the comics before she names him Lucky, he is just the pizza dog. Like, that's his name.
I liked when she was going down the list of name ideas because people our age love to give their pets weird ass fucking names. Like we're past Max and Fido.
I want to get a Schnauzer and name it Colonel Sherman Potter after a character from MASH because I think Schnauzers look like tiny old men. Like, it's a weird thing. We can't afford to have kids, so we put... My cat's name is fucking Cleopatra. Like...
This would be a great moment for her to just lift her head up.
I only call her that when she's in trouble. You're not in trouble.
Yeah, but still, like, she was giving him, like, these titles, and I was just like, this is accurate to someone our age.
We call Cleo a crackhead hobo.
She is a crackhead hobo.
Hi, baby. Are you my little hobo? Yeah. Look at that face. Look at that tiny bean. Wow, we are truly just...
There's just, like, so much
It's not even that late for me.
No.
Yeah, so I feel like we're definitely... I'm mad we didn't see his face in, like, a post-credit scene at this episode just because I wanted it. And it's like, fun. We all know. Just give it to me. Stop being coy.
Well, the other thing is, like, even putting the fact that it's like there's a 95% chance we're going to see Kingpin aside, I'm really enjoying this show because it really is feeling like the Marvel Netflix shows. And I know that a good chunk of them have mixed opinion, generally speaking, but I mean it. I mean it in the most good of ways for all of them. Of just like, it's always about organized crime. They're always peeling back the curtain just a little bit each episode. Like, and I'm enjoying missing that format. Like Brett, in the beginning, you said this was so much more street level, and this really just feels like another one of the Netflix shows, and I'm happy we're there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
I just show overall thoughts. Like, I really hope, and I don't think it's gonna happen. I really hope Clint doesn't die in this show, and
No.
I hope, because obviously I think the trajectories of the show is kind of the transition of the Hawkeye title going from Clint to Kate.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's be real. They very clearly want to get rid of Jeremy Renner because Jeremy Renner has said and done some not great stuff in the past couple of years. But
okay, but I kind of want Clint to, like, because in the comics too, like, he kind of goes, obviously because he has a family, it would be a little harder for this to happen. But like in some of the comics, right, he goes over to the West Coast, he leads the West Coast Avengers, like he still has like a mentory role. So I would like for that to happen.
Here's the thing.
To some extent.
MCU Clint has been trying to retire since 2015.
Yeah,
it is now 2025 when this show takes place. 10 years this man's been trying to retire. He gets dragged out in Civil War. He gets put on home arrest, which I guess kind of helps him retire. House arrest. Yeah, that's why it sounded weird. His family gets snapped away. He spends like 5 years just murking gangsters. He then fights Thanos and is finally like, I'm going to go see Rogers the Musical with my children. We are going to be a family. It's going to be...
Who made that choice? Who made that choice?
The choice to go see it or the choice for that to exist in the MCU?
I mean, both. I think that was a dumb scene, but mainly his choice to go see it.
I think they wanted to go see it.
He turns off his hearing aid and he gets like, I don't have a better word for it than triggered by Nat. I'm like, what did you think was going to happen, you dumb donkey? Like, of course you were going to be triggered.
We haven't talked about Rogers the Musical at all.
No,
actually.
I'm surprised we haven't.
I just love that concept of just entertainment, like totally like bastardizing this story. I love how they included Ant-Man for some reason in the Battle of New York.
That's the thing. I think they wanted to go to it to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
But I also didn't, and I'm assuming most people didn't because we didn't know at the time that in the show that he had his hearing aid. When they gave that sound of it being deafened, I thought it was just him having like this flashback about the fact that he's kind of having to look at essentially Nat again. But no, it's just that he turned it off.
Like a gross version of Nat.
That was a great... I was gonna say again with the structure of the show. There's a great way to tell in such efficient fashion that one, he's hard of hearing, because that was like the first moment when the audio kind of fades out and you're like, what's happening? And then his hearing aid was turned off. And two, that he still feels guilty over the loss of Nat in Endgame. Like it was just boom, boom, two quick little things, and like less than 5 minutes, boom, you understand where he's at. What he's dealing with in the show.
Is Thanos was right the new swastika in the bathroom stall?
Yes.
Okay.
But I also bye. I was offended on behalf of the many Tony-winning set and costume designers for many Broadway musicals. Those were the damn costumes you made? What the fuck is that? We made a puppet of King Kong, and that's what the Hulk looks like?
I think that's kind of the... Wait, are you talking about like in real... Like the show actually hired these professional Broadway costume and set designers? Or are you speaking...
I wish they had, is what I'm saying. I feel like it was such a... There are so many dumbass fucking musicals that absolutely should not fucking
They turned
exist
Rocky into a musical.
Yeah, they turned King Kong into a musical that like didn't need to be a musical. Their sets and costumes still have like the Spider-Man musical had great sets and costumes. The Green Goblin in the Spider-Man musical looked really good. And you saw him like up close and he looked, because I saw that musical. He looked really good.
Part of me likes to think that it's almost a parody of what some aspects of musical theater and Broadway have turned into, so that's why it looks like that.
But it's never that bad. I have never seen a Broadway show that has costumes that terrible. Ever. For War Horse, how long ago did fucking War Horse come out? And those were all puppets. Fucking Equus, not a disturbing show and what nobody should want. But Equus had like a puppet horse that looked great.
And also had Daniel Radcliffe's penis.
Okay, listen.
Am I wrong? You're gonna look at me. You're gonna tell me that I'm wrong.
No, but a lot of people were probably traumatized because they were like 14 and were like, "I want to go see Daniel Radcliffe's penis." And then that show is, I couldn't get through it as a grown ass adult without being deeply disturbed. I cannot imagine watching it at 14. I was 21 when I saw that show for the first time. Like, damn. I'm just saying, I feel like that was like, set designers and costume designers get so pissed on already, and like nobody acts like they're important. Their awards get cut out of the Tonys every year and all of that shit. And I just felt like this was adding insult to industry. I'd be offended. I'm not saying that Iron Man needed like full armor or any of that shit. I'm just saying the Hulk could have been better. And like, why was Ant-Man there? And like, who did this?
Ant-Man being there is funny to me.
Yeah, even, I love that.
Because it was also very clearly like a Hamilton joke.
By that logic,
the costumes, I don't really like Hamilton, but the costumes in Hamilton are really good.
Well, I mean, it's pretty easy. Just
Stop
to be like,
scratching the couch, you absolute shithead.
I feel like historical costumes and like, an adaptation of superhero costumes on stage is very different.
He's in a hoodie and a pair of purple fucking...
Anyway, is that to imply that the guy who plays Steve also wrote and directed the show?
I doubt it, but...
I'm going to go ahead and make it
I don't think they'd go that far.
I think the outfits... Remember that SNL skit that Renner was on?
That's what it looked like. It looked like an SNL.
The SNL skit looked better, though. Like,
yeah. Like, that's
because they had, like, the Party City costumes.
That sketch, by the way, is so great.
He's like, yeah, and I got 12 of them.
I have 11 arrows, and I killed 11 people.
I've killed 11 robots. You're welcome.
Well, get another arrow out of the body. No, that's not sanitary.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't like that it looked like an SNL skit. Like, I think it would have been better if it was well-intentioned, but not taking into consideration how this would be to the people involved.
Maybe when they do a real-life Avengers production, they'll nail the outfits better.
Let's be honest. How far away are we from an Avengers musical?
I'm betting that we're gonna be like in our 30s and 40s.
Really? You think it's gonna be that long?
Well, because think about how long it took to make Mean Girls, how long it took to make King Kong, how long it took to make School of Rock, how long it took to make Back in the Band,
School of Rock
Boys
is
in the
such
Band.
a good fucking musical.
How long it took to make Matilda. Matilda came out in the 90s and the musical came out when we were in high school. Like,
yeah, but Matilda wasn't one of the highest grossing movies or franchises at the time. I just feel like that speeds things up a bit because people are like,
Mean
it'll
Girls
sell.
Was, and it took forever. But you also have to remember how hard it is, and there is not every producer on almost, I won't make a blanket statement, but almost every producer on Broadway is just a rich 75-year-old white guy. They don't give a shit about the MCU. So it's going to be when they die and their sons take over, like we'll use Schubert Production Company as an example. When the guy who's running it now dies and his son takes over, he's going to be like, I'm going to hire a writer to write an Avengers musical, but it's going to be a while.
You guys want to go see it?
No.
I would see it. Yeah, heck yeah.
Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark got too much flack, but that also said to me, we don't need superhero musicals. They don't work.
Isn't there a Superman musical?
I thought the issue with Spider-Man was the production and people getting hurt all the time.
Yeah, no, that was a death trap.
Yes. So that was the other thing, but then they edited it.
Edited?
They fixed it, and they changed it. And it wasn't bad by any means, but it wasn't great. Like, in the run of musicals that I've seen, it's definitely like a forgettable one.
I also think the music took itself too seriously, because as a Spider-Man fan, I have
the
tried...
music is so good.
I don't know. Like, I've tried to, like, listen to it, and it just, I don't listen to it and go, this feels like it's Spider-Man. Like, it just feels like it's just music.
It's a musical. It's
but what I'm saying
music.
is it doesn't even feel like a show tune part of the time.
It's you have to remember when it came out, though. It sounds like Next to Normal and Rock of Ages.
I like the Green Goblin songs. I like the 2 Green Goblin songs.
Freak Like Me.
And what's the other one?
Pull the Trigger.
Yes, I like that one a lot too.
The music in that show is really good. If the World Should End, I think is one of the best power ballads in musical theater history. It's a beautiful power ballad. That time in Tick Tick, not Tick Tick Boom, High Fidelity. It was this period of musical theater where everybody was like, we're going to do pop rock musicals and it's going to be great and it's going to get young people to come see theater. No.
Yeah, no. Young people aren't into Sting and Bono, though.
It's not even that. Young people don't have money to buy $200 tickets to go to Broadway. It's the same reason that it's not young people that are like killing themselves to go see Hamilton. It's old white people. We don't have the money to be buying kids. Or trust fund kids. We don't have the money to be buying $200. Like that's I'm going on a rant about theater, but like that's the reason theater is dying is because it is it's not accessible.
And then
theater is not accessible. No. Like, it's not accessible if you're hard of hearing. It's a incredibly inaccessible art form, and that's why it's dying out, and nobody wants to accept that. But I'll get off my soapbox.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to see any more of Rogers the Musical?
No. I said that before the show came out, that we were going to see 2 seconds of it. They played it up a lot in the trailer. We were going to see 2 seconds of it, and then we would never see it
Did you see that when she was in her aunt's house, there was a commercial for it?
And did you see the billboard in this episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean like we'll see the actual play?
No, I just mean like if there's a scene like where they run through the theater and we just see a different part of it.
No.
I still think.
I don't know.
I still think we'll get more like what we got in 3, where there's like a billboard or something.
I think it'll get referenced because it's funny, but I don't think we'll see more of the show.
Yeah.
Like
because they also paid. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
They paid actual Broadway writers to write the song. That's expensive. Like Broadway writers are expensive. Yeah, like you're not gonna write one song. We'll choreograph to it, and that'll be it.
Don't even write the whole song. Chorus and 2 verses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely could see line references where somebody's like, referencing the musical that something happened, and then Clint's like, no, that didn't happen, or something like that again, or like billboards or somebody wearing a T-shirt.
What if the final battle takes place during a production of Rogers the Musical?
It's not going to.
That's what it's all leading up to.
Or we'll see something like Rogers the Musical actually be a real musical or something. I can see that.
Not. I just don't foresee it. I thought superhero musicals were clever until I saw the Spider-Man musical, and that was like.
All I'm saying is, I don't remember the last time I went to a musical. I would consider going to a Rogers musical. I would consider going to the Rogers musical. So I mean.
Again, I would go for the joke. Like, that's why I went when somebody gave me tickets to Spider-Man Turn Out the Dark. At that point, I was just curious. I
wanted to see it.
Yeah.
It was fine. It wasn't bad. It gets too much shit, but, it wasn't also, it wasn't great.
It was.
We've also been recording for 2 hours.
It's, we're actually reaching an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah, we didn't start until 6:30. I'm a moron tonight.
No, you're good. Any final thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I'm excited. I want to see. I want to see Clint. I'm glad Clint is getting I don't know how to phrase this.
Is good now.
I'm just glad we're diving more into this character, and kind of the running theme throughout all the Disney Plus shows is I just love getting more time with characters we probably wouldn't have gotten time with in any other form of medium in terms of a movie or something like that. So I just love getting more time with Clint, especially with what we think is going to happen of being the end of Renner's Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad, because when the show started, I was like, oh yeah, man, I remember going to see Thor in 2011 and seeing him in that movie for a hot minute. I'm like, and yeah, it's been this journey for 10 years. Yeah, it's crazy.
I want to see. I think this will be a good swan song for the character. I'm excited to see him. What I hope be able to make it home for Christmas and retire, and know that he's leaving someone better than him to take over, and somebody who gets it, and somebody that he feels okay trusting with it. I'm excited to see.
I don't know how it would happen, but kind of going along with what I just said of like him and what you said too, of like kind of leaving his one more like, and I don't know how this would happen, but just one more like kind of hang out with, Thor, some, all the other, some of the other surviving Avengers, not even like the OG group, but like just, because like I think that would be an important part of it too, of not only him being okay with his legacy, Kate respecting his legacy, but like the other like heroes like kind of being like,
do you know how I want this to end?
What?
I want this to end with him starting like a Skype or a Zoom call and being like, "This is Kate Bishop. She is better than me. I trust her with my life. We went on a whole journey together. Do not call me. Call her. Do not call me."
Well, the question is, who would he even say that to? Because the Avengers don't exist anymore.
Like Falcon.
Well, they still do because Bruce Banner and Wong and Carol kind of called Shang-Chi. Yeah,
fair enough.
There's still that kind of
still a network
group. Yeah, but like I'm saying, like I would just like, and I don't think he's gonna show up, but like Thor, like all these other heroes be like, "Hey man, like you were just as important as us," or something like, "Hey, like you were just as valued as everybody else," and we like some sort of like celebration of this street level hero who he literally says, "I fought against Thanos." Like, yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Alrighty, and this was a very long episode, but we did discuss 3 episodes. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We will be seeing you next week for episode 4. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.